All right, continuing my first round draft. Questions asked. Does Jordan Love need someone else to throw the ball to? Do the Minnesota Vikings need someone to throw the ball? Do the Houston Texans need someone so that CJ Stroud will have a chance to throw the ball? The Los Angeles Rams, do they need someone that can throw the ball? Baltimore Ravens, they're all set on someone throwing the ball. The Detroit Lions are set on someone throwing the ball. The Washington Commanders seem to be set on who they have to throw the ball. Buffalo Bills, I don't know who they're going to need. We'll see. And the Kansas City Chiefs, we'll see what they need as well. And the Philadelphia Eagles, we know they don't need anyone to run the ball, so we'll see what they have there. So let's swing it back and get started. I'm going to go through some of these football cards that I have. Green Bay Packers before we get to their picks. Juan Stenerud, Maurice Harvey, Rich Wingo, Eddie Lee Ivory, Jaden Reed, wide receiver, Ezra Johnson. And my pick, if I were GM, with the number 23 pick in the draft, would be adding another receiver. That will be Kyle Williams, wide receiver out of Washington State, 6 feet, 186 pounds, 70 receptions, 1,198 yards, 14 touchdowns, 17.1 yards per reception. Yeah, that'll get him a dynamic duo with Jaden Reed and with Kyle Williams at the wide receiver position. Minnesota Vikings, you see Rich Gannon, old card. You see Mark Mulaney, old card. Ted Brown, running back. Joe Sensor. Look like they're dancing together, don't it? Ricky Young. Steve Dills, another quarterback. Leo Lewis. Matt Blair. My pick would be Xavier Watts, safety out of Notre Dame. 6 feet, 203 pounds, 53 solo tackles, 30 assisted tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 6 interceptions for 136 yards, 9 passes defended. Yeah, most definitely it would be a fit there for the Minnesota Vikings on the defensive end. Going over to C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans, like I said before, needs to have a chance to throw the ball. All that magnificent accomplishments that he had last season, but he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks, so you know where we're going with this as you look at some of the former Houston Texans / Houston Oilers. Chris Sanders, Will Anderson Jr. I don't know how he got in there. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. Haywood Jeffries. My pick will be Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU, 6'6", 323 pounds. You have a body there that's going to be able to block so that C.J. Stroud won't be looking up at the sky as much next season. Next up is Los Angeles Rams. As you see, that's one of my old football cards there. Charlie Young, tight end. And let's see who we got right here. Tony Zendejas, kicker. Marshall Faulk. That was back in the days when it was the St. Louis Rams. That was cool, St. Louis Rams. The greatest show on turf. Pat Thomas. And Super Bowl winning quarterback Matthew Stafford. Wide receiver Bill Waddy from back in the day. My pick would be Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. 6'2", 225. You all know who he is and know about him. If this draft goes the way that I had it written out in my book, he will still be available at that position. I think Los Angeles will be a great spot for him. You see the numbers there. Matthew Stafford, you probably got about, honestly and truthfully, about 2 or 3 more years. So you might as well start developing your next quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. Moving over to the Baltimore Ravens. This old Baltimore Raven card that I got right there. I think I lost the other ones. It's Lamar Jackson. My pick for them will be on the defensive end. Would be Mello Dotson, cornerback out of Kansas, 6'1", 190, 39 solo tackles, 10 assisted tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 5 interceptions, 6 passes defended. Moving on. This is my hometown team, well, my old hometown team. So you know I'm going to give them some love. Look at that, 1981 leaders. Spider-Man Allen, Billy Sims, Freddie Scott, Dave Purifoy. He had a name that made you look at it. 11 sacks. He had a name that made you fear him if you saw that on the back of his jersey. Anyway, moving on. Ray Odom, safety. Look at that, Jamison Williams. This is from those cards that I picked up where they don't have any logos on them, but Jamison Williams, wide receiver. Y'all know who this is, especially the old timers. It's Bobby Lane. Some say what we did with him is the reason that we can't get back to the Super Bowl. And Barry Sanders, of course, everyone knows who Barry Sanders is right there. Look at that number 20. And Alex Anzalone, pretty cool. Look at that right there. Stein for Sion Vaki. Look at that. Boom. Look at these big dudes. David Hill, tight end. Dexter Bilsey, running back. Doug English, defensive tackle, all pro. Look at that. Boom. Jimmy Spider-Man Allen. Boom, boom. And Ed Murray, kicker. One of the greatest kickers of all time. My pick, Karene Reed. Make sure that you look up some of his highlights on YouTube. Karene Reed, linebacker out of Utah. I would team him up with Aiden Hutchinson, and you will have one of the most fiercest pass rushes in the league. Lions had one of the greatest defenses last season, but some injuries struck them at the wrong time of the year. So I don't see anything that will be a negative from adding more depth at the defensive positions. Karene Reed would be my pick, linebacker out of Utah, 6 feet, 226 pounds, 29 solo tackles, 25 assisted tackles, 3 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass defended. Now, it doesn't say a lot statistically, but go check out the highlight film on him. He's going to have these quarterbacks running around trying to make split-second decisions on what to do because he's pretty quick. But Karene Reed, that's my pick out of Utah. Going over to the Washington Commanders, so you see that long-time great there, Chris Cooley. Tight end Don Warren. They had a heck of a lot of good tight ends. Brian Robinson Jr. Darren Payne. Don Warren again, tight end. Gerald Riggs, remember Gerald Riggs, the running back? My pick for the Washington Commanders will be linebacker Jordan Turner out of Michigan State, 6'1", 231 pounds. This guy's ferocious. He hits hard, very hard. 36 solo tackles, 30 assisted tackles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 pass defending. That's quite a stat sheet right there. Moving on, Buffalo Bills. Got some players from Buffalo. Sorry about that light there. Look at these old school Buffalo Bills. A team that's been to the Super Bowl a few times, more than a few times, and have yet to come away with one in recent history. Look at that, Micah Hyde. Look at Josh Allen. Bam, Josh Allen. Reuben Gant. Quite a few Bills cards I have here. Wonder why. Look at that. Remember good old Joe Ferguson, quarterback there. Remember Jerry Butler, wide receiver. They always had some good wide receivers. They're also in Buffalo. Frank Lewis, look at that, Frank Lewis and Jerry Butler. Nose tackle Fred Smerlas. This has always been one of my favorite cards here. And great Cornelius Bennett. My pick will be Bo Frailer, defensive back, Iowa State, 6'2", 220 pounds. Look at this, 46 solo tackles, 38 assisted tackles, 4 passes defended, 2 interceptions. He's a sleeper to me. Like I said before in the first couple of videos, a lot of these guys you've never heard any of the analysts talk about. But these are some gems in there that are to be had in this draft. Moving over to the Kansas City Chiefs, runner-up to the Super Bowl, Gary Barbaro, Henry Marshall, James Hadnot. You guys think I got a Patrick Mahomes card in this stack with the Chiefs? We'll see. The Otis Brown, running back. Billy Jackson, running back. Steve Fuller, quarterback. They've had their share of quarterbacks there at Kansas City. Remember Elvis Grbac? Remember Elvis Grbac? Brad Wood. Joe Montana actually was a quarterback for him, and Steve Young was a quarterback for the Chiefs. So, but they had some big names come through there, the quarterback position. Of course, you had Alex Smith. I wonder what it is with the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs with those quarterbacks. Look at Art Steele with the Chiefs, and Art Steele with the Buffalo Bills. My pick would be Gerard Christian Lightning, offensive lineman, Oregon State, 6'9", 329 pounds. That would provide a little more protection for Patrick Mahomes so he's not out running up and down the sideline. You know people want to take his head off, so I think it would be a good idea to get a big offensive lineman in there to stop some of the pass rushes coming in on Patrick Mahomes. Moving on, last but not least, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles on winning the Super Bowl last season. Take a look at some of their players from the past. Max Runager, Randall Cunningham. Remember Randall Cunningham was with them and with the Minnesota Vikings also at once upon a time. Carl Hairston. Come on, cooperate, cards. Jerry Robinson, inside linebacker. He was like, I'm just chilling out here. Frank LeMaster, inside linebacker. Jalen Carter. And my pick would be Miles Hinton, offensive tackle, University of Michigan, 6'6", 342 pounds. I'm pretty big on protecting the quarterbacks. We got a lot of mobile quarterbacks out here now that are able to scramble and you know, what do they call it, the RPO, run pass option. But quarterbacks are very, very valuable. So I think a lot of these teams really need to focus on beefing up their offensive line. Even though you got a mobile quarterback, let's prolong these guys' careers by not having them take off and run so often. So let's beef up those offensive lines. So those are my picks right there. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Sorry about that glare from the light. But yeah, I'll be doing round 2. I may get to round 3. Time's running out on these. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, hope to see you checking out round 2 of this NFL quote-unquote mock draft. Thank you.